Okay, we're on. We're
Okay.
rocking and rolling.
Good morning to everyone. No, for good morning for me and good evening to you.
Yeah, this time change has really made me all messed up. Really messed up. So messed up that when I put up the little banner, I did it so quickly nobody could tell. So I'm gonna do it one more time and leave it up there for a little while, and then I can get rid of it. Okay. Well, yeah, it's good to have you here, and looking forward to hanging out our Friday get together. I have some things that I wanted to tell you about.
All right, you have a list.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a small list, small list. So I created. Are you familiar with something called Twitch?
I feel I've heard the word
Yeah.
Twitch. Twitch. Is it a dating app?
No, no, it's not a dating
Just
app. No.
enlighten me.
Yeah. It's a streaming app. It's where you can live stream whatever it is that you want to live stream. A lot of people, I think it really got a lot of popularity from people playing video games and then
Yeah,
streaming their
now I
video
remember.
gameplay. Yeah. So I created a 12-hour podcast account,
Oh,
and I've set us up so that we can live stream every episode as it happens, and we're actually live streaming on Twitch right now.
we are live
Yeah.
for the first time ever.
For the first time ever. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I set that up. We actually have we have one viewer at the moment, but it's hard to tell if they're actual. Yeah. Hi, one viewer. But it's hard to tell if they're an actual viewer or a bot.
I was just before logging in, I
Yeah.
was thinking about something. Okay.
Hmm.
So here's my thought. In
Okay.
future,
Yeah.
is it possible that if we call someone a bot, they might get offended?
Oh, like an actual like a bot that has the ability to get offended will get offended by being called a bot. It'll have feelings.
Or just that bot would become like a degraded word. And if we call a human a bot, he might get offended.
Oh yeah, yeah. Maybe it'll become an offensive word to call somebody a bot.
Yeah, because we are so much surrounded by bots and we are starting to get annoyed by them.
I think it could already be used as an offensive word towards somebody to mean that they're the type of person who is that their responses are highly predictable and that there's no emotion behind their interactions and there's
And
no ability
repetitive.
to yeah and there's no ability to connect with them.
Yeah. Like Sheldon Cooper, he was often referred to as a bot.
Okay.
If you have seen The Big Bang
I
Theory.
know you love that show. You love The Big
Yeah.
Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory, Friends, Seinfeld. Um, there's another one I'm forgetting.
Cheers and Frasier,
Cheers and Frasier, of course.
The
Yes, yeah.
Office.
The Office, yeah. Isn't?
And one more edition would be Brooklyn 99.
Oh yeah,
But
right,
that
right. I think we've talked about that one
yeah,
too.
that was still ongoing while I was making that video, so
Right,
I did not include that.
right, right. Okay, okay. What about Parks and Recreation? Isn't Parks and Recreation similar to The Office?
I've heard people saying that. I tried Parks and Recreation and I never got used to it.
Okay, but it's like a similar premise, isn't it? Like, isn't it supposed to be very similar to The Office?
If you're talking about the genre, then yes, mockumentary,
Yeah,
the genre is called.
but it's also filmed in an office, isn't it?
Not exactly, because there is a lot of parks involved,
Oh,
as much as I remember.
okay,
I'd seen that years ago.
okay.
So I remember Chris Pratt being a victim of some kind. He fell into a ditch in a park. Some That's how his storyline goes on.
Oh,
So I don't remember exactly.
yeah, I have no idea. I've only seen like very small clips of the show on YouTube Shorts, and every time it's in an office setting, so it just seems like it's like The Office.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the office is literally the office.
Hmm.
Once they had to evacuate the office, so they created a moving office in a
Okay.
bus.
That's interesting. Okay. And the other thing I wanted to tell you
Mm.
is I've set us up so that we could play chess today.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that.
I didn't forget. I set us up. So I have an account, and then your account, you can just log in to chess.com using the 12-hour podcast credentials, the same credentials that we use to log into everything. So you can log in there, and we can play a game of chess anytime you're ready. Yeah, I think you could play it on your phone. You could use your phone. You could use your system. Probably be easier with on your phone, I would think. Yeah.
Yeah, because that would not overload my system.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's smart. And I literally will display the chessboard up for the 0 viewers that watch our all of our episodes. Oh yeah, what episode are we? Is this episode 6?
I think we can call it 2.0 because it's live now. So it's a
Oh,
different format maybe.
oh, right. Yeah, I guess we
We can
could.
we can start a different numbering system.
We could. We definitely could.
So
But
this
that,
would be 2.1 or something like that.
yeah, maybe. But then that means that it'll always be episode 2.
2 point something.
Yeah, it'll always be episode 2 point something.
Hmm. And interestingly, numbers never end. If you remember,
I know.
there was a line in that movie, Fault in Our Stars, infinities within infinities.
Yeah. And there are some infinities that are bigger than other
The
infinities.
others.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was such a deep philosophy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos on that kind of stuff. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Bigger factors of infinity. The idea is that certain infinities grow quicker than some other infinities.
It's even hard to describe to someone who is not well versed with mathematics.
Yeah. Well, I think it's actually pretty easy because I think one of the best examples, simplest examples, is if you just say, okay, so infinity plus 1 starting at 0. So we have the number 0 going up in sequence, one at a time, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up into foreverness. And then the next thing could be, well, infinity times 2, for example. So then we start from 0. Well, I guess not 0. I guess you start from 1, right? Because times 2 will always be 0. But starting from 1 times 2, so it goes 1 and then 2. And now the
But
next number in the sequence is 4. So now you're getting larger much quicker.
but the thing is, if you start from one, you have already skipped a lot of infinities because there is 0.01, 0.001.
Yep. Sure.
That's what infinity within infinity has to be.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. To an infinite decimal place.
Places.
Yeah. Yep. Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. And you can do negatives too.
Yeah, that would be just a mirror of the infinity that you have counted before.
Yeah. Just going in the opposite direction.
Okay, so I have, it says the password is incorrect.
Okay. Well, make sure you're using the proper password.
I've tried copy pasting.
Oh. Unless I set it up with the wrong password and didn't realize it. I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure I used the correct password. The same as our email. Should work. Should definitely work.
Let's try again.
If it doesn't, then I will reset the password.
Okay, so it's not working.
Oh
Can you
no.
recheck?
I will recheck as we speak. I'm going to log out of our account right now. Out of my account, I should say. And I'm going to log back in using. No. This is the wrong one. That's not the one I want to log in with. Did you? Oh, this is why. Did you, for the login options, did you use the option that says Google?
No,
Yeah,
I
do
used
that. Do that. Don't just put the email address and password in. Use the Google link.
okay, but if I do that, I think it won't allow me because of the location thing. Last time also the Bing didn't allow.
Oh, really? Well, let's see. Let's see what happens. Let's see if the API shows up.
Okay, so there we go. Oh, it worked.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so you're in.
So it shows Adam
Yeah, it shows me in your friends list.
challenge created.
Oh,
Is
you're.
it the same?
Yeah, you can create a challenge to me. Sure.
I don't know
Let's see. I
how it
think.
works.
Okay, I'll help you out. Oh, here we go. I think there's a. I think I see two challenges here. Okay, let's accept. Let's accept this challenge. There we go. And I'm going to type you a message. Hi. Did you get that?
I don't see anything. I just see challenge created.
Oh, maybe because you created, I think, two challenges. So let me go to the other challenge. Let's go to the other challenge. And now I'm gonna say hi in this one. Hi. See that? Let's see if I move a piece. How about that?
Still nothing. Oh, I'm still in the list of what? Is it the home or something?
You got to go into the actual. Oh, okay. I think though. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna set up one for us. Okay, you ready? Let's see here.
Okay, I found it. Yeah.
Okay, you found the move. You found my move.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's your turn then. I got to go back to where I was moving. Let's just see.
So let's do it.
Let's see. Oh, okay. Game on. Game on.
So this game has been going on for 3 days.
No. It's been. We have 3 days to finish the game.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. This is exciting. Do you see my move? I think you see my move, right?
no. You have played your second move. I don't see that.
I may have to hit the. There we go. That's what I got to do. Oh, that's really
Huh.
weird. I actually have to like go out and then back in, which is very strange. Why does it make me do that? Let's just see. I don't know why it forces me out and back in. I don't like that.
So thinking and thinking and thinking.
Come
Alright,
on, man.
let's.
Got to keep things exciting, you know?
Yeah, because you are much more experienced at this.
Okay, here we go. It's going to exit me out and then I got to go back in. I don't know why. I have to figure
Yeah, the
that
same
out.
is happen. Yeah, same happens for me here.
That's very strange. That's fine. I'll get
By the
used
way,
to it.
do we have any viewers?
It says one, but I would imagine it's a bot. I think our viewers are bots right now. If it's on Twitch, it's going to be bots.
And it's meant to be offensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, viewers or viewer, let's let's make it fun and start with a check. I know it won't make any difference.
I'm already ready for my move then. Okay, we'll just do this then. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. So I know it won't make any difference. Okay, so what is it called when you build an incline wall like that?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if there's a
Uh,
term for it. I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know chess that well. Where
really? I think you are bluffing.
no, no. I swear, I really don't know chess that well. I don't know it well enough to know like if you set up your pieces in a particular way that it's called that there's actual naming conventions for these things. Yeah, there probably is.
Hmm. So
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with that bishop? Huh? You can't leave it there, man. You can't leave your bishop just hanging out. I'm gonna take it.
okay, so I will probably do this. Let's see.
Ooh. Okay, if you say so. Now we're gonna have some fun with you. Okay.
You're gonna trap it, aren't you?
Maybe. Do you see the move?
Not yet.
Oh, interesting. Upgrade to save. What does that mean? Upgrade to save. I don't want to upgrade. Let's just see. There we go. And I got to go back in.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah, that is annoying. I don't remember it being like this. Maybe they changed it around. Maybe that they're doing that to try to get you to upgrade so that stops happening. Or maybe it's a setting somewhere or something.
If I do this, I think. I
Choices,
think I'm.
choices.
Yeah, I think I'm already off to a bad start.
You think so? Maybe. All right, there you go. That's my move. Now what? Now what? Amit's thinking hard. What do we do?
All right.
What do we do? Okay, okay. Sure, sure. Yeah, yeah. Okay. No problem. Okay. All right. Things are about to get really interesting. Things are about to get very, very interesting. Uh huh. Right, right, right. Sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Aha. What are you drinking there, bud?
It's a concoction that I've come up with. I've been recently drinking this every morning, so it's Kada.
What's that?
It's like black tea that is commonly had at cold places.
It's black tea that's commonly had at cold places.
Yeah, and it has spices, of course.
Okay. So, I mean, like, what do you mean it's commonly had at cold places?
It's famous. It's a famous drink from Kashmir, kawa and kada.
Oh, kawa and kata.
So kada is basically, I think, a concoction. Kada means concoction, and
Oh, okay.
kawa is specifically from Kashmir.
Okay. It's basically a black tea. It's a black tea with
Yeah.
spices in it.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. I'm having um I'm having kata right now, but without the black tea and without the spices.
So you're halfway there.
Yeah, give or take about a third.
So okay, so I think I will have to block it and park it for now.
Okay. Block and park. Okay. We'll let you just hang out there for a little bit. And now, what are we going to do? Now, what are we going to do? Let's see. How about we have a little bit of fun? How about that? Try that on for size. I think next game I put on a timer.
Uh,
Put more pressure on you. Make it more intense for
Definitely.
you. Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm doing right now.
That's
So
okay. This is a good thing to do like first thing in the morning as well on a Saturday. 7:30 in the morning. Well, soon to be 8 o'clock.
it's
All right, what do we got going on here? Okay, all right. I see. I see, says me. Let's do, what do we want to do here? We're going to do this.
badly trapped. Mm.
Yeah, we're going to make things funky. Okay, okay, sure, Sure, why not? Absolutely. We're going to do that. That's what we're going to do.
I'm gonna stick to the plan and let's see what happens.
Okay. Aha! I see. I see, says me.
Hmm,
Ha.
badly trapped.
Hmm.
So badly trapped.
It's not looking good.
Yeah. And I've completely blocked all my path.
For the most part, yeah. I agree. I'm also
I
not really
see.
playing very nice. I'm playing very mean. I'm like just going full guns blazing on you. I'm not even giving you like an opportunity. It's not nice. I
Yeah,
really
I
should
could
have.
see that we
Yeah.
haven't exchanged any piece and you're about to mate me.
Yeah. I should at least like, give you some opportunities to mess around a little bit.
Okay, so this is probably the only thing that can postpone it.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Let's see if we can come up with anything else to postpone. Oh,
Yeah, I'll have the satisfaction of drawing first blood.
okay. Let's just do this. Let's just move this along. Just gonna ignore that whole thing that you're trying to do over there. Ah, okay. All right. Now we're having a game here. So we're just gonna do this. Now let's see if you can figure out something to have something going on here. Okay. Sure. Yeah, you're really going for it here, huh? Let's see what you're up to. Not much. I mean, let's uh let's see what your plan is to do this. You got one move. You got one move to make things happen here. You better make it good.
Oh, you have already played.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, okay. So I can see that you're about to checkmate.
Yeah. You have one move. You have one move to figure this out.
Okay, there's only just one thing I can see.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's all messy.
Okay.
Oh, okay, let's. But I think that would be only postponing it.
Maybe.
That doesn't really help.
Maybe. Let's see what you do. Let's see what you do with this mess of a situation.
The problem is I only have one move.
Okay. Maybe. What'd you do? Okay. Interesting.
I don't think that helps, right?
I don't think so. Unless I'm just not seeing something, but I think that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, because every other move that I was going to play was only going to postpone that.
Pretty much.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's interesting. It's interesting that you decided that you're going to just play the bishop. You're just going to like throw that bishop out. I'll just do this thing. Didn't
Yeah.
think too much
The
about it.
start
And
was
then you get
yeah, yeah.
yourself into a mess and then you start thinking about it.
Yeah. That's always the case with me.
You want to do the opposite. You want to think before you act. Yeah.
Yeah, but then at what point do you start thinking? That's the question.
From the beginning.
From the first move.
Yeah. From the first move. You start thinking from the very first move.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I've never played that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
That's the way to
let's see.
play. The very first move, you're already thinking like how you were thinking at the end. You're thinking like that from the very beginning.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's the way to do it.
Then that's not fun. In in the
Oh,
beginning, if
okay.
we are playing in the beginning, if we are playing just randomly,
Yeah.
then maybe a lot of opportunities open up. You never know what happens then.
Okay, but I don't I like you're playing randomly, but I'm playing very strategically. So who do you think is
Yeah,
going to win?
of course, I play randomly at the beginning.
I know you do.
Yeah, because unless there is some pattern or something going on, then it doesn't feel like a challenge until then.
Okay, so you're waiting for the challenge then to think strategically.
Yeah,
Yeah, but by then it's too late.
yeah, that's okay.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, it was actually a good flexing for my brain. I haven't played it in a very long time.
Yeah. Next time we're putting on a timer. Next time we're putting on a 10
Yeah,
minute
definitely.
timer, it's going to force you to think a little bit quicker,
Oh,
a little bit more pressure.
is it the same as speed chess?
Well, speed chess, I guess, would be like 1 minute like a 1 minute game.
Oh,
Yeah.
so total of 1 minute for each player.
For each player, yeah. So you have 1 minute, I have 1 minute. As soon as I go, my timer stops and yours starts.
That's gonna be tough. Let's see.
That's
Yeah.
very, very challenging. Yeah, I don't really like it. You can't really, I mean, unless you're extremely professional, you can't you can't strategize anything. Like it has to be muscle memory.
Yeah,
You have to just know what moves you're going to
of course.
make. Like no matter what your opponent does, you already have everything mapped out. They make this move, you're going to make that move, and then from that move they can make a bunch of different moves, and then based on every single move they can make, you're going to make those moves, and you just already have that all mapped out in your head.
I can imagine. In fact, I can also imagine people making mistakes, but the opponent missing out on that mistake.
Yeah, potentially. Potentially. I've never been to a tournament before. But they've got these like big tournaments that people attend and enjoy watching. They're a big deal. And that would be interesting to, for those very short games. But then again, it's happening so quickly, you know, unless you're a professional, you're not really keeping up with what is actually happening. And like if somebody missed a move, like I don't think you're going to even catch it yourself if they didn't. Right? So you're not going to really know. You just know the outcome. You just know like, oh, that person won. Or like it looks like that person's about to win and they don't or they do.
Yeah, I've seen some professional games and I don't think I can keep up with the whole game.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But yeah, next time we're gonna do a timer, a 10-minute timer for each one of us. That should be plenty of time to think.
How long this game lasted?
About 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay, so we can start with 15 minutes maybe.
Maybe. I don't know if there's a 15-minute timer. I think it goes 10 and then 30 minutes. I think.
All right, we'll see about it next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what about our viewers? What are they doing?
I don't know. I have no clue. So how Twitch works basically is it just shows you how many viewers have watched, and that's it. That's all it shows. And then they could like type out a message if they want to you. But
Yeah, so do we have any message?
no. From the one viewer that's probably a bot? No. No
Bots.
messages. Yeah. No.
Beep bots.
Yeah. And I would imagine like the likelihood of getting an actual viewer, I think, is slim to none.
So we are doing pretty good there.
Yeah. We're meeting the expectations.
And and if you are not a bot, send us a message.
Yeah, well, sure. Yes, absolutely. But I can pretty much guarantee it is a bot.
That's sad.
Yeah, it is sad. It is sad. I agree. So have you ever heard of St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah, where they dress up like dwarfs,
Leprechauns.
leprechauns,
Yeah. Yeah. Sure, you could. I mean, nobody dresses up. Not here at least. They just drink.
and green, and everything is green,
Everything's green and people drink green beer.
green beer. So
Yeah.
they add blue dye to brown beer, and it becomes green.
I think they just do straight up green because the green dye is pretty strong. Like, yeah, it's plenty strong that the beer's gonna turn out green.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's much stronger than the pigments of the beer color.
So is it today?
I think it's Sunday,
Okay.
but they don't celebrate St. Patrick's Day there. I would imagine.
No, it's not a tradition here, but
No.
we can start. I can start.
Yeah, you could.
I can wear green. I can eat green, drink green,
People will think you're crazy.
crazy green.
Yeah. I mean, people will think you're crazy, crazier than you already are.
Just yesterday I took a bottle, a pipe, and some strings and made this guitar like thing. What is it called? A single string guitar. What is it called?
I don't know. A single string guitar.
In India, it is called a tumbi.
Okay.
So I made a tumbi, and my mom was like, "You're crazy."
Why? Just you just did this for fun.
Yeah, I actually made it for my nephew
Oh, nice.
because I play original guitar and he's not supposed to touch it.
Okay.
So just for him to have something to play,
Okay.
I made that.
Well, that's nice. How old's your nephew?
He's gonna turn 7 this year.
Oh, nice. Amazing. That's fun. Yeah. Get him into playing instruments at an early age. Sure.
Yeah, but
Not a
I
bad
don't
idea.
think he's gonna catch on. He's not that interested in music yet. But let's see.
Yeah. You never know. Never how things can
Yeah,
develop. Okay. All
yeah.
right.
If someone had given me guitar at that age, I probably would have started playing and would have been a professional now. You never know.
Hmm.
Because I was given a keyboard and I used to take keyboard lessons then. But that lasted for 1 year maybe.
Okay.
But that is how my musical bend started. I got some inclination towards music, but it never continued until my adulthood.
Hmm.
And as you remember, I said only this year I began to practice everything again.
Okay. All right. You should get into. We should get you to the point where you can like really play, and then we can have a jam together.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
do that right now for the viewers. You can bring up your guitar and I can try some vocals,
Yeah.
some
You want
popular
to sing
songs.
something?
Yeah, some Green Day song maybe because it's St. Patrick's Day.
That makes sense. Makes sense. You know how to sing Green Day songs?
I think I know one that is Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Oh, I gotta remember. I don't remember how the chords go for that. I have to figure it out again.
It's. Do you want me to look it up?
You could. You could. We could look it up right now. Let's see. I bet I could
So
find
you
it too.
okay? So you don't look up the chords, is it?
Boulevard of Broken Dreams chords. Let's see.
I look up every song actually. Yeah, it's simple. EMGDA.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay. So it starts off with well, that's pretty easy. But it's I think they use power chords. I don't think they use like these are this is more like the chords I'm looking at right now is more if you want to play like a
Acoustic.
acoustic, a campfire version of it. But I've got my electric. Let's see. Let's see. I didn't know that I was going to be playing guitar today.
Yeah, that's the beauty of this podcast. Nobody knows what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't know if it's in tune.
All the viewers watching, keep that in mind.
Yeah, you never know. You never know what's going to happen. It's a crazy, crazy podcast. Okay. Um. So I think it's ah.
I walk a lonely road, the only one that I have ever known. Don't know where it goes, but it's home to me, and I walk alone.
Nice.
I walk this empty street on the boulevard of broken dreams. When the city sleeps, I'm the only one and I walk alone. I walk alone, I walk alone. I walk alone, I walk my shadow's only one that walks besides me. My shadow heart's the only thing that's beating. Sometimes I wish someone there will find me. Till then, I walk alone. Ah, 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 ah.
Nice. That was beautiful.
Yeah,
It
I
was
think I
beautiful.
mistimed at a few places because I always do that.
No, that's okay. Except for the fact that like it'll never line up. So there's always gonna be this like delay between like when I play it, by the time you hear it, and then you sing the part to when
Oh
I hear
yeah,
it.
I never thought about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
So
like
it's
this.
always gonna be 1 second lag.
Yeah. There's going to be some sort of delay or lag from that. So it's never going to line up, anyways. The only way it
Yeah, I
could line up
wonder.
is if I played the part, I recorded it for you, you played it from your end, and then you sung along with it.
Mm,
Yeah. But that's too much work. We don't do that kind of work around here.
in future, perhaps.
Maybe. Maybe.
But the thing is, so online jam, is it possible that it doesn't exist, or people do that?
I mean, I think the only way it works is like the way that I described. Is like one person has to record themselves playing.
So they have to do in parts.
Yeah. You have to do in parts. There's no way to coordinate it otherwise.
Mm.
So it has to be like one person records themselves playing, gives it to the other person, they record it on top of that person's part, give it to another person, and then maybe like during a if they're doing like a live stream with it, then they can like pretend that each one of them is playing the part,
Hmm.
to make it look like they're actually jamming in real time. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see how this turned out. Let's see, wait for that. And yeah, so I was thinking maybe we can do this. You can record a music pattern and then send it to me. I can add on the lyrics and then send it back to you, and then you add on rhythm to it and then send it back, and we can keep on adding layers to it and see what the final song can turn out.
Could definitely do that. You could definitely do that. It's a lot. It's a lot. I've recorded my own music from scratch. Granted, like I try to do it as professionally as possible, but one song, uh, I spent 90 hours on one song
So just doing it in parts,
because
one
that's really
instrument at a time.
yeah, that's the only way to record it. If you want to record like a lot of
Orchestra.
instruments, yeah, make it just sound bigger than just one instrument and singing or something. Then if it's just one instrument singing, that's easy. You can just whatever, it
Right.
doesn't matter. But if you want to add like a lot of layers, then yeah, you need to. I mean, it depends. If you don't really care about the sound quality of it, and you don't care about it sounding as professional as possible, then you could just do it really quickly. But if you're doing it by yourself and you're attempting to make it sound more professional, then yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot that goes into it. It's tremendous.
Mm.
Yeah, because you got to factor in that not only do you have to record each instrument separately, but you also want to get a good take of you of the recording. So you're doing multiple takes for multiple parts, and you're typically not doing the whole song from beginning to end. Because if you make one little tiny mistake at the end, then you got to do the whole thing all over again. Well, I guess you could
So
you could edit it. So you could then just cut out one section and just record the one section. But it's easier, in my opinion, to do everything in sections. So that we can focus in on one part, get it to sound 100% how you want it to, and then
so
record.
30 seconds at a time.
Yeah, not necessarily even 30 seconds. It could be, it's not really a matter of like time. It's a matter of like the part, however long the part is. Or if you want to break the part into sections or little bits and pieces, depending. And also if you want to have like, if you want to have layers, because typically with something like guitars, you want to layer two guitars doing the same part. Because it just sounds a little bit more like full and not so weak sounding. It sounds stronger if you have, for every part that you record, not for everything, but for a lot of stuff, you have two guitars doing the same thing. Yeah.
And can't we do this? We can take the part of the first guitar and then just copy paste it. Wouldn't that work? And with
Uh,
a slight 0.1 second
yeah, it's
time gap.
it just ends up sounding like in my opinion,
Echo.
not really an echo, but it doesn't sound as good in my opinion is recording it twice because it's like the little minor imperfections add an element to it where it actually sounds like there's multiple guitars playing the same idea rather than it being
Gotcha.
so perfectly rather than the part being so perfectly recorded on top of each other. It ends up sounding like too robotic and not really like human like. It sounds too yeah, it just you get rid of that human element to it. You can it just doesn't sound as good. Yeah, in my opinion. Maybe there's some people that do it that way, but I would just actually record the part twice because it's those minor imperfections that make a big difference. Because also what you want to do too is like a lot of times what's good to do is you pan you put one guitar in one ear and the other guitar in the other ear,
Left and right.
left and right. So that way, like, it's hard to identify. Like the person that's listening, it's going to be hard to identify that there's two different guitars playing exactly the same idea. But it just sounds really full, and especially if you do like one style of guitar and a different style of guitar but playing the same part because they sonically sound very different.
Yeah, that often happens. The
Yeah.
acoustic and electric guitar.
Yeah, maybe it's because there are two different styles of electric guitar, right? So, like, you take one brand of electric guitar and another brand of electric guitar, and then you play the same part, and then you pan it. It's like the difference between the sonic, the way that those instruments sound sonically, like they really can complement each other and like fill in some tonality gaps.
Hmm.
Yeah. So because one might sound a little bit like of one type of tone and the other one will sound a little bit of a different type of tone. And then when you put that together, it kind of fills in a lot. Like it really sounds very full. Yeah.
So it's like the grains of some fabric that when you put on the
They're like
layers, it feels
intertwined.
smooth.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like intertwined. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Use different types of material to make one piece of cloth. Yeah, it's because they're intertwined. They kind of their combination of both together kind of create a certain texture.
Yeah. And the same thing happens in singing. That's called harmonizing.
Yeah, so harmonizing is different. Harmonies are different. Like, because you can do the same thing on a guitar. You can come with harmonies on the guitar. So a harmony is where you take like a melody. There's a melody, which is like specific notes, obviously. And then a harmony that not always, but a lot of times is like some of the notes are different. And then the two frequencies of sound, the pitches, the difference in pitch together create the overall sound of the vocals. But you can do the same thing on guitar. Like those are basically chords.
Hmm.
That's basically a chord. Yeah.
So it's basically something like the first sound is on the lower pitch and the other is higher pitch,
Higher
and
pitch or maybe even a lower pitch than that one or whatever. And
or the or what we call it as an octave.
so an octave is yeah, like I mean, octaves are just the same note, exactly the same note, but just a higher version of that note or a lower version of that same note.
Yeah.
That's an octave. But so a harmony could be could be some notes that are octaves, or it could just be different notes that are
Gotcha.
not necessarily an octave. Yeah. So those could be harmonies. And it's when you have like a chord is just two notes at the same time. That's what a chord is. It's all that a chord
Mm.
is. It's two notes or more at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's two notes that I mean not necessarily that are harmonized. You can have dissonant sounding notes too. And I think I showed you an example of that like a couple podcasts ago. But that's still a chord. A chord is any two notes
Played together.
played together. Yeah. And not necessarily even different notes. You can have exactly the same note, but there's two versions of that same note played together. You could argue that that's a chord, I suppose. Could you argue that that's a chord? I think you could. I think you could. Maybe you can't. I'm not sure actually the answer to that. Yeah. But anyways, you get the idea.
Hmm.
Yeah. So to go and like record parts, that's like that's extensive. That's a lot of work. Do that. Yeah.
Okay. So coming back to your list, the one you said at the beginning, I think we have only covered two of them. One was Twitch and the other was chess.
Yeah, that was it.
Ah, okay.
That was it. That was the whole list. A very, very, very short list. Yeah.
Yeah. You probably have a big whiteboard on your wall
I was
with
actually thinking
two
about getting
items
one.
on it.
I'm putting it right
Yeah.
here.
I have it in my room and I barely use it. Once I fill it with different ideas and whatever comes to mind, it stays like that for months. And then suddenly one day I decide, okay, I'm gonna wipe it off and I'm gonna start over and start something new.
Okay. So you like just write out ideas, but you don't do anything with them?
It's not that, it's these are just scribblings or muses
Okay.
or
Just thoughts
some
that come to your
random,
head.
yeah, random thoughts, random ideas.
What was the last random idea you had that you can
Hmm.
remember that you wrote
Okay.
down?
I probably wrote it down on my phone. Let me check.
Okay. Let's.
Oh, by the way, Evernote, they've become very greedy and they don't allow to create you new notes.
Evernote doesn't allow you to create new notes.
Yeah. It used to allow unlimited notes earlier, and now it only allows 50 notes.
Ah, they want you to pay.
That's, yeah.
I think you just use OneNote. No?
You mean everything within a
No.
note, are
There's
you
a
saying?
there's a there's a product by Microsoft called OneNote.
All right, I will look into it.
Yeah, OneNote. And if you have a Samsung device or really any device, it usually comes with a Notes app.
Yeah, but those don't feel very, I don't know,
Hmm.
comfortable or easy to use.
Okay.
Evernote is something that has a lot of features, and basically, I've been using it for over 10 years. So I
Okay.
have a lot of notes in that.
Okay. OneNote is pretty good and you can integrate they have like a widget for your phone so you can actually see it. Like I have a separate page on my phone where I set up all of my OneNotes and they're all like labeled so you can scroll through them.
So they are like post-it notes, small post-it notes.
Sort of. They're like not really post. It's just like I have one page that I on my phone that's used just for one note, takes up the entire page, and then it shows a list of um, uh, all the different separate notes that I've taken, and then I can click on any of those, and it will bring up that note with like all the stuff that I wrote down that are related to that one note. If that makes
Okay,
sense.
so it's like a
Yeah.
tree of notes.
So yeah. Yeah, I suppose so. You can think of it that way. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty good. OneNote's pretty good. Um, integrates with the phone like you have, what do you have? iPhone or an Android?
It's Android.
Yeah. Okay. So it'll work really well with that.
So, yes. So here's the idea that I was thinking about. So I was thinking to, how do I put it? Because it's kind of something that made sense to me. But yeah, of course, you know music better than me, so
Okay.
maybe you can give your input.
Maybe.
So what I do while singing is I look at the chords that are meant for guitars.
Okay.
I look at the guitar chords and I try to modulate my voice according to the note written on that,
Okay.
the chord written on that.
Okay.
So if it's something like G chord or EM chord, like we were singing right now,
Okay.
then I that's kind of something that I have to sing in a higher note.
But how do you know if it's higher or lower?
That's what I'm classified in my mind. So EFG, I have to sing on a higher note, and
Oh,
C
I see
and
what you're
D on
saying.
the and C and D on the medium, and A and B on the lower note.
Yeah, but like the A, there's an A that's higher than G.
Yeah, of course there will always be octaves, but this is something the pattern that I have been following just
Mhm.
to make it simpler for myself.
Okay. Okay.
Because some often what happens is I think the song has to be sung on a higher note, but I've been singing it on a lower note for
Hmm.
years. And when I look at the chord pattern, I find it that I've been singing it wrong,
Hmm.
and that is why it doesn't sound correct.
One of the best things that I think would be helpful, this is what I teach students that are doing any vocals, is find a, like, if you can find a YouTube video that has just the melody recorded for you, like that an instrument recorded the melody, and you can slow down that YouTube video where you can hear each note individually and you can match your voice to each note.
Hmm.
Then you can double check that you're actually singing each note correctly. That's the
Yeah,
best way to go about it. Because the chords, I mean, they help, but they help guide a little bit, but
mhm,
there's not enough information that you get from the chords to know exactly the right note that you should be singing.
got it.
Yeah, it's limited. It's limited information. The best way is, like I said, to have like an instrument that's like playing each and every note of the melody, and there's like focusing on each and every single note one by one and matching your voice to each and every single note very, very slowly. And then over time, starting to get the correct rhythm once you're comfortable with each and every single note. It's a very gradual, very, very slow process.
So this is something related to what my idea was. Now, just the way we can get chords for the song
Hmm.
by just looking it up.
Yeah.
Can we get the notes of a song by looking it up, and then we can just read them out and accordingly prepare
Uh,
our voice?
yeah. I mean, depending on your level of expertise with singing, sure, you could do that. But if you don't have a lot of musical knowledge or know-how or experience, and they're just trying to like figure it out as more of a novice, then it's just seeing like a letter is not really giving you enough information to understand. Like, music is with the ears, not with the eyes. So looking at notes, and again, unless you are very experienced as a musician, it's not enough information. Like, I can look at it because I understand where the chords are on the guitar, and I can understand it take with what I'm reading and match it to what it's supposed to sound like and where it is on an instrument. But for someone who doesn't, I don't know if you have that level of knowledge to do that, at least with your voice. I certainly don't. I couldn't look at it at a series of notes and go, oh, like that's how to sing an A. Like, I could just find it with my voice. You'd have to have perfect pitch to do that. Yeah. And very few people have that. So the best way is to have, like, to either get to know the part extremely well first, and then get to know it with how it's supposed to sound with other instruments. And then once you hear the other instruments, that will help cue you into what notes you should be singing in relation to the other instruments. Yeah, like that's really actually like the best way as a novice. And again, like starting from hearing the notes, not seeing the notes written down on a piece of paper, because that, again, this isn't really, and like it doesn't really help somebody who's just learning how to sing. You have to hear it and then match it with your voice, mimicking. Like, how do you learn any language? We don't learn a language by first reading it. Nobody does that. Like,
By talking it.
yeah, by mimicking. By mimicking is how we learn any language. That's the first step, mimicking. You have to spend a ton of time mimicking. And then once you get a really solid foundation for mimicking, then you can get into some basic reading. Very basic. Yeah. Like, very gradually. If you think about it, like the brain as an infant is like a sponge, just absorbing the world, right? And how long does it take for the brain to learn its first language to the point that it can actually start writing it effectively? It takes a long time, a tremendous amount of time.
5 years.
Yeah, it takes a tremendous amount of time. So, okay, granted, that's an infant. So as your brain is more developed, you're probably going to pick it up a little bit quicker. But still, like, you need time. I would say at least 3 years of just mimicking is really important. Yeah, mostly mimicking. A large majority of the time spent mimicking, and some like just note taking, like writing down some things to remember how certain things work. But like if it's vocals, all mimicking. Should be like basically all of it is mimicking.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point. That is how all humans learn, by mimicking,
Mm,
whether it is a language or any new subject.
yeah. Like writing like think about what is more effective as a way to transmit ideas, right? Like things have been written down, like hieroglyphics. How long did it take human beings to interpret hieroglyphics and like different languages? Like it takes a tremendous amount of time to uncover that. But if you had like some sort of recording of somebody like speaking the language and you're able to then mimic it, and then there was some context between what they were saying and what they're talking about, and
Mm,
you know what I mean? Like you'd pick up things much quicker. And then if you
yeah,
saw the writing, then you'd be able to understand how it all
match it.
matches. Yeah. Yeah. So just looking at the writing first, it's like all you're doing is trying to interpret and encrypt. It's completely encrypted to you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And all you're doing is guessing how it works. The best way is to mimic. Like I guarantee if I played the first 3 notes of the vocal line for Boulevard of Broken Dreams, you'd sing the first 3 notes like perfectly. Like this.
Mm.
But just seeing the notes written down, like you sing A, I don't know, F sharp and D. Like, how do you know
Yeah,
you're actually singing the
agreed.
right notes? Yeah. But if I
I
just
would,
play the
yeah,
notes for you, you'll sing them like
I
this.
might even be close, but I won't be there.
But maybe you're not close. Like, how do you know? What reference point are you using? You
Maybe
got,
memory, because when I think about the song, I'm thinking about the singer, and
sure.
that is what happened. Actually, this is something that happens quite a lot.
Right.
When I'm trying to sing the song, the sound of the original singer
Mm,
that changes my voice, and that becomes a problem because if it's a feminine song,
mm,
I'm already singing at a very high pitch, which I'm not good at.
right. Sure. Sure. But again, you're talking about mimicking, right?
Yeah.
So you're trying to remember what it sounds like so you can mimic it,
Hmm.
right? But just seeing, like, if you had no clue what the melodies were, it's the first time ever you're hearing me play the chords, you're seeing the words, you're seeing the notes, like you'd have no clue how to sing it,
Mm.
right? But if I play it for you, then you're like, oh, okay, that's what it's supposed to sound like, and then you can mimic it. So mimicking has got to be
Definitely.
the first step. You got to spend like 99% of your time is just mimicking. Yeah.
Yeah. Even I think experienced musicians, they are supposed to warm up by mimicking the notes, at least in
Um,
classical music.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a professional musician, you have like certain exercises that you go through to warm up, or you might have certain kind of go-to songs or parts of songs that you might play as a warm up. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's more what typically would happen. But you usually have like a sort of these rudiments or these foundational basic concepts of things that you do to kind of get yourself moving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
how that works. Yeah. And then once you
now we are
understand,
back to your list.
yeah. And then
Yeah, you wanna.
once you understand the musical language like thoroughly, then you can start speaking it. Right? So that's the next step, really. Like it's not even it's like mimicking and then learning how to speak it and then learning how to read and write it.
Hmm.
Right? That's what
So
we do.
first, so first taking it in and then giving it back and then maybe recording it,
Yeah, like
making a record of it.
yeah, not necessarily making a record of it. Yeah, by writing it down or by looking at other records of it that have already been produced. You know, by reading it. Right? Like that's usually what people do. We mimic it, copy what we hear, then then from that we learn context of how to use those different things that are part of our vocabulary, kind of learn how to combine those things into ideas that we can express ourselves with, and you learn how to communicate with the vocabulary you're given. You try to expand your vocabulary like enough so that by the time you go to read it or write it yourself, then you have some sort of basis of developing your vocabulary further. And then you can use that to speak even more. But communication is really that's the ultimate way to know that you're understanding the language, if you can communicate it. Like just by copying what you're hearing, you don't necessarily understand the language. You're just copying what you hear.
And I believe there are different types of learnings: auditory learning, oh, what is it?
Visual.
Visual and kinesthetic. Is that what it is called?
Kinesthetic? Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
What is
that's how people learn by touching or feeling.
okay, that's kinesthetic. Okay. Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose there's got to be more methods of learning than that, no? What are
Then,
all the methods of learning? Oh no. Oh okay. Oh yeah, yeah, it is going through some of those. It started off funny. It started going, okay, there's formal education, informal learning, online learning, but then it got to hands-on learning, which is, I guess, kinesthetic. It's hands-on learning, maybe? Is that kinesthetic? I don't know. Oh no, kinesthetic is different. So there's hands-on learning, visual learning, auditory learning, kinesthetic learning, also known as tactile learning or hands-on learning. So what's the difference between tactile learning and hands-on learning? Hands-on learning, also known as experiential learning. Okay. So, but experiential learning is very much like kinesthetic. Like kinesthetic learning is through the experiencing of touching things and moving things around and manipulating things. Like there's a lot of similarities, I guess, between kinesthetic, but maybe hands-on is more like the practical actual use of it in a real life scenario, whereas kinesthetic is maybe like demoing it.
Yeah, maybe hands-on is basically doing some project,
Yeah.
creating something.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are the methods: kinesthetic, auditory, visual. Those are basically the three main methods. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
And which one do you prefer?
I think it's got to be a combination. It's got to be a combination. It's got to be all the right combination of all three. Yeah. So for me, like if I'm learning something brand new, if I have a video I can watch and I'm hearing the person speak it, and at the same time I'm like writing the notes out myself, that's sort of the demoing of it, because then I have to like formulate how it all works and like what's related to what. And because if you take really effective notes, then you can refer back to things really easily. So you got to make some sort of sense of it and like model it and then put it into the real world.
I agree, because every time I make notes or mind map of my own, then it makes much more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, what I've tried is, maybe you can try that as well, is make the notes multiple times.
That's a good idea.
That makes the process even more interesting, and you get a new perspective maybe every time.
Yeah, it probably also puts it into your long-term memory a lot better, because then you're forced to go back through it,
Right.
and then make sure you understand what you actually wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I remember right now I'm learning project management. So my notes are extensive, and I've organized it such that everything is chronological. Like this is what you would do first if you're doing project management. That's what you do next. This is what you would do after that. Like it's very chronological, and then each part of the process, I've taken additional notes within there, and then I've organized everything with like indents. So that way I know that this is all for this part of the process. That's all for that part of the process. Here, like if it's intended more, that's more of an explanation of this particular part of that process. Yeah. I think it has to be well organized.
You were working as a project manager, if I remember, for the semiconductor company.
That's right. Yeah, for AMD. Yeah.
Okay. So you're going back to it.
I want to get my PMP. My project management, is it program management professional or project management professional? I think you can, it's interchangeable. So yeah, I want to get my certificate, and I want to look for another role in that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you're upskilling.
I want to find a role that's either similar or a step up in the hierarchy from there. Maybe a director role. We'll see.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It's intimidating because I don't know. I think that I still have a tremendous amount to learn, but maybe that's actually kind of why I should do it. Like that's why I probably should do that. I should pursue it because I have some basis of foundational understanding of it, and I still have a tremendous amount to learn. So that's probably the reason why I should go for it. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, always a good idea to learn more about your own field.
I think so. I think so. That's interesting
Like
too.
yeah, sometimes I think I could have studied B.Ed. B.Ed is Bachelor of Education,
Yeah.
which is like mandatory for most of the teachers in
Mhm.
India.
Right.
But if you are teaching someone who are already in, you can say, a college, then you may get by without that B.Ed. So that B.Ed is mainly mandatory for the school section and the higher school section.
Okay.
But if you're teaching college students, you can get by without it.
Hmm.
So I sometimes feel that if I had done B.Ed, it would have helped me a lot more.
Yeah.
Even though B.Ed is not given that value in our country, it's seen as just a formality.
Is there a difference between colleges and universities there?
Sorry?
Is there a difference between a college and a university there?
Yeah, university is something that governs the colleges here.
Oh,
So
okay.
university is not like what you have, what you call a university there.
Well, yeah, in the States it's different than it is in Canada. Canada, college is a place you go to get practical knowledge and practical experience in a particular field in a relatively short amount of time. And it's something
Hmm.
like specialized. So if you want to learn how to be a nurse, or you want to learn how to be like a restaurant manager, or things like this, like something that's highly specialized in a particular area, and you want to get that
Uh,
hands-on experience, you want to gain internships in that field, then you go to a college.
gotcha. Okay, so
University,
is it something like vocational? I think we call it vocational here,
yeah,
vocational education.
yeah, maybe vocational could be different. I think, like I have to look this up to be sure, but I think vocational could be like a trade. So, like, let's say you want to learn how to be a plumber. That's usually going to like trade school. At least here, that's how it works. If you want to do like something like that, like you want to be like a contractor of some sort, you go to a trade school.
Okay,
Yeah,
so that's called a trade school
a
there.
trade. Yeah, you'll learn a trade. Yeah.
Okay, so if I see the if I stack the education system, then what you call as trade school in India, there is no trade school. There's basically hands-on experience there.
Mm,
So
okay.
we don't have any certification or course for plumbing and electrician.
Oh,
You have
interesting.
to work, you have to already work under an experienced electrician, gather knowledge, and then start your own.
Yeah, you could do that here too, but typically, like things are very highly regulated
Yeah,
here. So
exactly.
yeah, so you want to get certified because people don't really want to hire somebody who's not certified, a certified electrician, a certified plumber. Generally
Mm.
speaking, I mean, you might be able to get by without that potentially, but yeah, if you want to really like build a business properly for yourself and like having the credentials helps makes a big difference. So yeah, there's that. And then universities are, well, that's more for like theoretical understanding of large ideas, not specialized, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what university is there is college here, where we
Mm,
go for the theoretical knowledge. That's college for us.
yeah.
And university for us is where you go for the paperwork.
Mm. So
You get
similar to the
your
US then.
documents. Yeah, it's just for documentation process, the university here.
Mm. So similar to the US. Yeah.
Yeah. So whenever we are saying we are going to the university, it's understood we are not going for the lecture. We are just going to get some paperwork done.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So it works a little bit differently in that regard here, I suppose.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever. So I don't remember how we got into this topic.
education,
Oh yeah,
types of learning.
we're talking about types of learning. That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. So communicating it first before reading it and writing it, I think is like that's what I think makes the most amount of sense. Learning how to really communicate something really well. That's more important, I think, than reading and writing it. Because they can, like, even if you never learn how to read and write a language, like if I wanted to go to France and I knew how to speak it, but I didn't know how to read and write it, I think I could get by a lot further. I mean, sure, you'd still have some difficulties if you can't read it. If you don't understand, like, if you're trying to get from one place to another, but then at least you could communicate with some people. I think you can get by a lot better if you can communicate a language. If you had to choose between communicating it versus reading it or writing it, I think communicating is way more important.
But nowadays, I think we have translation technologies that is definitely going to help in communicating with a foreign language. But
That's
the
true.
problem is people might stop learning on the road.
That's true. That's very
Just
true.
like we don't remember any phone numbers right now.
I wonder if ChatGPT can do that right now. Have you tried that out? If it can translate things into another
It can,
language?
yeah, it does for Hindi.
Let's
I've
see.
tried that.
Let's see. Can you help me say hello? How are you in Hindi? Oh wow. Okay, so show me the actual characters. And is it just me or the characters, like, to me they look similar to Thai? Or is it just me?
No, that's very different because I remember you saying Thai language has very long sentences without the spaces.
Hmm.
So it's very different and letters are quite different. So yeah, you might want to ask ChatGPT to give the answer in English.
Yeah, so then it did in brackets give me the English characters so that way I can say it. I'm probably going to totally mess this up and pronounce it completely wrong, but namaste, I know namaste. Upcase hain.
Yeah. So आप कैसे
Kese.
हैं?
Okay, so you don't really pronounce the N.
Yeah, N is very faint. It's eh, sounds like that. Eh.
Hey. Okay, and sorry, how did you say so HAIN? How did you say that?
हैं.
Okay, so you do pronounce the H a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, it's very
But
soft
that
though.
yeah, but that N part is very faint.
Yeah. Hey. Hey.
Mm, yeah,
Okay.
that's more like it.
So namaste up kese. Kese?
Yeah.
Kese? Hey.
Yeah. If that's the way you're gonna say it to any Indian, they are probably gonna assume you know Hindi very well.
With that accent, probably not.
No, but saying these words like "hey," it's very difficult for someone who is speaking Hindi for the first time
Okay.
because that faint N that is not really used in English anywhere.
Hmm. I wonder if it will pronounce it, like if you do voice to voice with ChatGPT, if it'll actually pronounce this correctly. Let's look this
Let's
up.
try that.
Yeah, let's see what happens. So I'm going to ask it, how do you say hello, how are you in Hindi? It's thinking.
In which language would you like to know how to say hello? How are you?
In Hindi. Mhm.
I see. In English, hello, how are you would translate to hello, how are you in Handy.
So it can't do it. It can't do it.
Okay. So
Yeah.
maybe you need to use some other app like Translate.
Yeah. But I bet you it will get to that point. For sure. We can just use an AI.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there are already models that are working good on it because I've heard many voice models, AI voice models that can read a text and read it aloud. Have you tried those?
No, I haven't.
If you remember, I had sent you my Spotify once that was recorded by AI.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so that's when I discovered that the voice models have already developed a lot, and now they have come in Hindi as well.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah, because then you could easily just go anywhere with your device and speak to anybody very quickly, and then learn what they're saying to you. I heard something recently about um, AI translating like some ancient languages, like
Oh,
within a very short period of time, and they've been trying to translate them for like forever. And AI was
are we
able to.
still talking about hieroglyphics?
No, I gotta look this up now. Okay, let's look this up. I think this was like recent news. Um, has AI been able to translate um, any ancient languages? Okay. Okay, this is from 2023. From June 22nd, 2023, archaeologists use artificial intelligence to translate 5,000-year-old cuneiform tablets.
Hmm.
A team of archaeologists and computer scientists have created an AI program that can translate ancient cuneiform. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. Cuneiform? Maybe?
Cuneiform. I've never heard that word.
Cuneiform. Cuneiform. I'm guessing that's how you say it. Um, I'm saying it like that for now. So until I hear otherwise. So ancient cuneiform tablets instantly using neural machine learning translations. In a paper published in the journal PNAS Nexus from the Oxford University Press, the researchers have applied the AI program to translate Akkadian texts with a high level of accuracy. Akkadian is an ancient East Semitic language, was once spoken in various regions of ancient Mesopotamia, including Akkad, Assyria, Isin, Larsa, Babylonia, and possibly Dilmun. And it just goes on. This is wild. Hundreds of thousands of clay tablets inscribed in the cuneiform scripts document the political, social, economic, and scientific history of the ancient Mesopotamia. Yeah. Yet most of these documents remain untranslated and inaccessible due to their sheer number and limited quantity of experts able to read them. The AI program has a high level of accuracy when translating formal Akkadian texts such as royal decrees or omens that follow a certain pattern. Pretty cool. How
Hmm.
awesome is that? I mean, yeah, this is like one of the best uses of AI to do things like
Yeah.
this. Super
And
powerful.
so, if I remember correctly, the tablet was from the ruler named Tutankhamun.
I think Tutankhamun was Egyptian.
So this tablet wasn't from Egypt.
No, this is from, what did it say again? From, this is an Akkadian. Akkadian is an ancient East Semitic language, once spoken in various regions of ancient Mesopotamia. So this is a Mesopotamian language.
Mhm.
It's dating back to 2500 BC.
And where is Mesopotamia? I think it used to be a kingdom and it spanned over Asia and Europe.
Yeah, let's look that up. That's a great question.
Sorry, Asia and Africa, I think.
Where was Mesopotamia located? Mesopotamia was located in the Middle East, primarily in what is now modern day Iraq, Kuwait, parts of East Syria, and southeastern Turkey. Yeah,
That's it.
that's it.
So it was a small empire.
I suppose so. Yeah.
What was the year
What was the year
that
what year was the Mesopotamian Empire ruling the Middle East? Okay, Mesopotamia was not ruled by a single empire, but rather by multiple civilizations and empires throughout its history. The region saw the rise and fall of various cities, states, kingdoms, and empires over thousands of years. Some of the most notable civilizations and empires that controlled Mesopotamia include the Sumerians, the Akkadians, the Babylonians, the Assyrians, and Persians, among others. Here are some key periods. So the Sumerians from 4000 BCE to 2000. Akkadian 2334 to 2154. Then Babylonian 1894 to 539. So basically that Mesopotamia existed from like about 4000 BCE all the way through to about 330 BCE.
that's quite old.
Yeah. Yeah. So about almost 4,000. Well, probably about 4,000 years. Yeah.
Hmm.
If you could go to any point in time, would you go to the future or the past?
I think we are already going towards the future.
Well, yeah, but would you
Well,
go like, would you go? Jeez. What a horrible way to answer that question. That was like the most annoying way to answer that question.
But yeah, I
You're so
still feel I
obnoxious.
would. Yeah, of course, I would want to go into the past.
Okay.
And I feel I don't want to go too much in the past, just before the technology became very common. So I would go probably to 60s and 70s.
Like
That would be the ideal period
like
where
six.
everything is accessible but not too overwhelming.
Like you mean 1960s and 70s?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So not too far back. Those are some wild
Because
times.
I'm pretty sure if I go too much in the past, my body won't be immunized to the bacteria and viruses that
Okay.
existed then.
Well, what if you can go to any time period and you won't be, you can just be an observer. So you can be like in this bubble, unaffected by whatever is actually going on, and you could just like observe.
Again, if I go too much in the past, I think observing would become something like a very slow process because everything was happening very slowly back then.
Sure.
Even when the kingdom was moving from one city to another, they used to take months just to travel.
Oh, yeah. Maybe years. Maybe be a
Maybe, yeah.
completely different group of people by the time they got there.
Yeah. Maybe they started 100 people while they started walking and they ended up being 70, 60 people when they reached the other city.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe like completely different people too. Maybe like different generation of people if it took enough time to get there. Right. A bunch of people just die along the way.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely that would be a very slow observation. So I don't know if I would want to watch that. And where would I even look them? Because they didn't have any specific locations. At least when I go back to 60s and 70s, I know this thing happened at this place. I can
Well,
choose that location.
what
There
about
would be aeroplanes.
what about specific locations that you knew stuff was going on, like where the ancient pyramids are,
All right. Yeah, it would be.
and like see what they looked like when see them being built. Actually, watch them being built.
I've never been that intrigued by that.
Mm.
So if given the chance, I would, but I won't waste my wish on watching that probably.
It'd be pretty wild, though.
Mm.
What if you could travel as many times as you want,
Then
but you have to choose
why
the
stop
past
at it?
or the future? Can't choose one. You have to choose either the past or the future, and you can go to as many places, travel as many times
Then
as you want.
yeah, then I'd still want to go into the past
I understand where we
because
came from.
yeah, and the future is then gonna be infinite. If we choose the future, there is no stopping. Again, as we discussed, there is infinity after infinity.
Maybe there's an infinite past.
Mm,
What if you could witness the birth of the universe?
mm.
That'd be pretty wild. Just so you're in the bubble. You're just like in a little bubble, unaffected by whatever's happening in the universe, and you can just observe the universe being
Why not?
created.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would want that ticket. Yeah.
That'd be pretty wild.
Again, not my first choice. I'd, even if I go back into the past, then I might go chronologically or reverse chronologically.
Hmm.
First, I will go back to the 90s, then
Yeah.
70s, and maybe
There's a
2 decades at a time.
there's one main huge problem with time travel. So if I want to travel to the future or the past, then not only do I have to calculate the time, but I also have to calculate the space. And how do you calculate the space? Because we're traveling through the universe. So, like, if I just choose the time and not the space, I'll be just in the middle of probably nothingness. Because not only are we moving throughout the galaxy, but the galaxy is moving throughout the universe. So I could be just
Right.
potentially like in the middle of absolute nothingness if I just get the correct time.
Right.
So you have to understand how, like, what the distance that the Earth traveled in the galaxy and how did the galaxy travel within the universe to be able to then be located on the Earth in that time. That's very complicated.
Yeah, because the time is just reversing for you. Now, that's the big question. If we are running a time machine, is it just reversing it for my molecules or all the molecules of the universe? Can one machine reverse the whole universe? I don't think that is possible.
No,
And that is why people have given up on that idea. And now they have basically
but even
shifted their focus on wormhole theory.
yeah, right. Yeah, I've heard wormhole theories. It's interesting, but that's just more to like travel great distances quickly, isn't it?
Actually, wormhole are kind of the rabbit holes of the universe
Yeah, it
that
like
start from one space time and end up in other space time. These are tubes, basically small tubes. If we can access these tubes somehow, then we can widen them for us, enter them, and these are shortcuts. We can definitely, if we are able to control them, we can definitely control the space and time as well, as you were mentioning.
hmm,
Then there is no limitation of space and time being different.
hmm.
Instead of choosing just the time, we can actually locate a specific space time and we can end up where we want.
Into the future, though. It can't work for the past.
It can, because if we are assuming that it is a continuum, then the tubes are not only going forward, they are also going backwards.
Mhm. But what's the difference between a tube that's going forwards and a tube that's going backwards?
Exactly. It's a long tube. You're just cutting it open in the middle, and then it's up to you. You want to go into the left part or the right part.
Okay, I see. Gotcha. So you're like literally choosing a direction, just like you do just like choosing right or left or up or down.
Mm.
Interesting. That'd be interesting. I know that one very interesting way that people have been thinking about time travel is just by starting with traveling at very high speeds. But this is just for future travel, going very deep into the
That is
future.
that is actually the theoretical model that Einstein developed to explain the theory of relativity.
Hmm.
But that is not possible really. That can only slow down the time, but it cannot take you back in time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can slow down your own time and speed up the time of everything else around you and
Yeah.
get to the future much more quickly than you normally would if you weren't traveling at those higher speeds. And then it also makes me wonder too that like the fact that the planet is traveling at a very high speed and it's traveling at a particular speed, and then other planets are traveling at a different speed around the galaxy, then that must mean that the relative times between those two objects and then all the beings on those objects would be quite a bit different.
Yeah, definitely. That is what the concept of Interstellar movie was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting too. That's pretty wild. It's like, how do you locate anything then? Because by the time you try to go to it, it could be not there at all. It won't be. And unless it's like much closer. It's a very close distance and you can travel very fast.
See, if we have a supercomputer that can simulate Big Bang,
Hmm.
then Big Bang can expand exactly inside the computer as it has expanded in reality.
Hmm.
So supercomputer can predict that 5 years from now, this planet will be at this position, even if it hasn't reached there. Because supercomputer is running at a very much higher speed than the universe
Right.
is.
You can put it at any speed you want, observe it omnisciently.
Yeah. So that kind of simulation is possible technically, but we are not there yet.
Yeah, you'd have to have basically a computer that was as powerful as the universe. I would
Faster
think.
than the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so that's not, I don't know if that's
But
possible
there's
to
a
actually build
difference.
something like that. Yeah.
In a way, it might be possible because universe has to do everything physically. It has to actually locate and move the pieces. But the supercomputer doesn't have to do it physically. It just has to keep on imagining layers after layers after layers.
But
So it's like creating images.
if it's incorrect with the tiniest part to an
Exactly. Yeah. That there is
infinite
always a possibility.
the smallest infinite part is a little bit different, then the model will be completely changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they will have to implement probability. They will have to build 100 supercomputers and look at the probability of that happening, which one is the most likely to happen. And then that basically becomes a parallel universes.
And then are there beings that are living within the supercomputer?
Yeah. And then we go back to this that we are living inside a simulation,
Yeah, maybe.
which is running inside a supercomputer, which is already being developed that we are wanting to develop.
Yeah, it's a serious problem. Simulation theory is very interesting. Yeah, I don't know what I think about that. I don't know what I think about the chances of us actually living in a simulation would be.
Yeah, because then it will become a loop,
Yeah.
like infinite iterations of ourselves.
I
Never
think
ending.
that rather than living in a simulation, I think it's much more probable that there are just multiple universes.
But again, when we say multiple, isn't it what we are trying to say that they are infinite?
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that's different than a simulation, than living within a simulation.
Yeah,
Because a simulation,
maybe simulation is just a word to give an understanding of the concept because we are familiar with computers. But
yeah,
something like simulation is definitely happening.
yeah, could be. I mean, I think simulation, the idea of simulation, it refers more to the fact that it was like then it's a very interesting idea because then that means it was created by a being or like
Yeah,
some
we'll.
sort of presence. It had to have been like created with like a purpose. Had to have been created by some sort of entity that had the purpose of creating it. In
Yeah,
order,
so the
so then and that's the idea of God,
yeah, exactly.
essentially.
The God was mimicking the universe again.
Yeah. So other than
But then
that,
who created the God?
but if you don't believe in God, then you can't believe in simulation theory because they kind of go hand in hand. You can't have a
Exactly.
simulation without a God of some sort, like a God being this like this creator. Maybe God is the wrong word, but a creator. But God is typically referred to as
A
the
creator.
creator. Yeah, the creator of all creators, right? So yeah. So I think that if you don't believe in God, then you just believe that these, if you believe that there's multiple universes, then they were just, you know, created just out of circumstance, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah. This is I'm not sure if I ever told you my theory as to like whether God exists or not and my argument for it.
Let's hear it now.
So this like take this phone. So if you'd never seen a phone before,
Oh yeah, now uh, I'm remembering what you have given the example before, but yeah, we can go through it again.
yeah. So you see something like a phone or any object. I don't know,
Hmm.
this mouse or whatever. And you've never seen it before. You just come upon it randomly. Let's say even better yet, we travel to a planet and the planet is barren, no signs of life, and you come across something that looks like
A mouse,
this, yeah, whatever it is, or well, you'd easily come to the assumption that some being
human.
would have created it. Some sort of being created this thing. It's not like, the universe came about, planets formed from debris that the sun produced, and then that perfectly meshed together in order to create this object. Like, no, some sort of being created this. So we come to that conclusion because the item is organized in a very particular, obvious methodical way. Okay. So then if you take that idea and you then look at, let's say, the universe, like the structure of the universe is organized in a very particular way. These these few elements that make up everything, and these few laws that make up everything, that govern the way that everything works. And even besides that, if you don't have any knowledge of that, you just look at the structure of the universe, it seems to be put together in a very particular way. For like these planets just are like, you know, like these systems are like completely formed. And
Yeah,
to make
like
the
solar
argument that
system
it just,
mimics
yeah.
solar system is mimicking the atom and so on.
Yeah, maybe you could say that, but yeah, like these systems are organized very particularly. And they're not like a one-off thing, like it's within the expanse of the universe. Everything seems to be like there seems to be structure to it all, you know. So I think that from that, I think it's very far-fetched, in my opinion, to say, well, that just kind of randomly happened. Like, I don't think there's much of an argument for that. I think it makes a lot more sense to say that something purposely created it to be that. Organize things such that it would be what it is. I think that makes a lot. I think it's a higher probability that that is what happened rather than just being completely random.
Yeah, but there can be an argument for that, and that could be something like, if we really believe in the word infinite,
Hmm.
then anything is possible.
Sure.
If the universe is literally infinite, then we are living in just a fraction, a tiny fraction of the universe, which has randomly formed the structure. Rest
Maybe.
of the universe is still random out there,
But random
not
is
making
different
any
than
sense.
infinite. There's a structure to even the idea of infinite.
It's something like you select infinite number of digits spread out randomly,
Okay.
and you take a small piece of those, a big number, small piece of that big number,
Mm-hmm.
and you are bound to find your birth date in that.
Okay.
So that's like pattern within the randomness.
But then what? So here's the question for you. Then what made the decision to find a pattern out of randomness? If it's completely random, then there should be no ability to find anything within it. And if there is ability to find something within it, that means that there's had to be something that had the ability to find something within it that found something within it.
Yeah. So either of these three things do not exist. Either complete randomness doesn't exist, or complete pattern, what we call as pattern, don't exist, or the infinite doesn't exist. One of these three things has to not exist to make sense.
Really? I think they can all exist. Why can't they all exist?
Because as you said, if it is true randomness, then there doesn't have to be any pattern. So they are contradictory.
But maybe maybe the idea of randomness itself, like that is something that is a construct within the universe that we're provided. The idea of potential randomness. That's a construct in itself. It's a concept. It's an idea. It's yeah. It's like, it's still a way things are like. Complete disorganization is a type of organizing things.
So you're saying pattern within randomness are okay.
No, I'm saying that. Well, if no, I'm saying that. I mean, if a pattern exists within randomness, then it's a pattern. It's not randomness. But I'm saying the idea of complete randomness is a concept. It's an idea. And then therefore, if it's an idea, then it has to be a construct of the universe. And if it's a construct of the universe, if it's like a property of the universe.
So again, you're trying to say that randomness itself is a pattern.
Well, I think pattern is different than randomness, right?
Yeah, they are opposite.
Yeah. Yeah. In order for it to be a pattern, it has to be repeating. Right?
Yeah.
So,
Something has to be repeated or at least be in a structure, be
yeah.
in a sequence.
Yeah. But again, like the concept of randomness, if it exists, let's just assume it does for the time being. That idea, it's an idea. The idea of randomness. If it exists, and we'll say that it does, then we would have to assume it was a property of the universe. You'd have to make that assumption because if it's not a property of the universe, then you can't have randomness. Right? Like it has to be something that actually exists within our universe for it to be a property of the universe.
I think universe is the pattern out of the randomness, and not randomness is property of the universe. It's kind of like a chicken and egg situation.
You think so? I mean, again, like if we could come up with something completely random, if you could come up with something completely random from within this universe, then it would be a property of the universe, would it not?
But the universe came out of everything random.
Sure,
So again,
maybe,
so that's
maybe,
chicken and egg.
maybe, but maybe both. Maybe the universe came out of something completely random, but maybe also randomness comes from the universe too.
Yeah, now we are in a loop.
Maybe, but then that would be a pattern.
But then again, for pattern to exist, the randomness or the infinity has to be eliminated.
This is funny.
Okay, so let's look at it in another way. Let's say you have an Excel sheet, and Excel sheet has infinite number of cells, and you put random function in each of the cell. And what random function will do is it will either leave it blank or put a color in it. So color and blank, color and blank. This is what the random function will do in each of the cell.
Right.
And now you zoom out of the sheet and you look at it,
Mm-hmm.
and you find your face in that Excel sheet randomly appearing because of all the colored cells.
Sure. So you find a
So
pattern
now,
as you zoom out further.
yeah, because it is infinite number of cells, and you are bound to find your own image, your face,
Yeah.
in somewhere in that Excel sheet.
Yeah. It's like saying the number pi. You take the
Yeah,
number pi, just any sequence of those numbers can seem completely random, but if you zoom out far enough, you realize that it's actually the circumference of a circle.
and any number that you can think of can exist within the pi.
Mm-hmm. So then that must mean that if any number sequence it's possible that can exist in pi, then that means that there's no such thing as random, because anything that's random can be given a number value. And then from that would exist within pi, that number value.
So pi is infinite, pi is pattern, but it is not random then. So from these three things, again, one has to be eliminated.
Yeah. So I would say it's much more probable that randomness doesn't exist.
Doesn't have to be. If randomness has to exist, then pattern has to be eliminated, or infinite has to be eliminated.
Yeah, I'll say that it's much more probable that randomness does not exist then at all. That things were created to have particular properties. Because we know for sure that patterns exist.
So basically, if we are going back to believing that there is a creator
Mm.
who created everything with a purpose, then of course, at some point, randomness has to be given up. And then,
Yeah, randomness is a hard argument to make, but it's not a hard argument to make that there's patterns.
Hmm.
That's a pretty easy argument, and it's not a hard argument to make that there's infinite, like that things go on for
Ever.
forever in both directions. It's an easy argument to make. So then, if randomness then has to be eliminated, then you just can deduce from there that there's no such thing as randomness.
Yeah. Based on that argument, yeah, the probability of randomness being an actual thing can reduce.
Yeah, tremendously.
Hmm. Because it is only easy to explain infinity and patterns to a human mind. Now, that's again something that can change the argument, because the moment we introduce the human mind,
It's limited.
human is, yeah, because human can, of course, observe patterns. For universe, everything is pattern, everything is random. When we say a Da Vinci painting that looks beautiful to a human eye, it may not look beautiful to a cat or a dog or an alien.
Because it won't necessarily distinguish the colors in the particular way that we do based on the way that we can see colors or that particular
Yeah.
part of that overall spectrum of colors.
Yeah, so if we take all the species and consider what they find a pattern, maybe a cat finds a rat a pattern. That's why cats always follow these threads, because for them a thread is much more like a pattern.
Mhm.
They see thread as a tail and they always want to catch it.
Hmm.
So for cats, pattern is something different. For us, pattern is something different. And if we combine all those patterns again, then it again becomes random.
So maybe not. Maybe just the idea of a pattern is just relative.
Yeah, definitely. Pattern is relative. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what one finds tasty, delicious may not be delicious for the other,
Sure.
because taste is also a pattern.
Yep. That's true. So I think there's much less. I think that like we're making more and more of an argument to say that randomness does not exist, because in anything that's random, there could for some perceptions that would look to be random, but for others there might be a pattern that exists. The other entity can't make any sense of.
No, actually, I'm making the argument that randomness could exist. As we said, that a relative part of that randomness is pattern for us.
But I think the fact that you're talking
Because
about that
pattern is
there could be a different,
subjective.
but I think the fact that you're talking about like that the experience of this randomness can be different.
Yeah. But if we collect all the experiences, then it again becomes random.
Does it really? Because if there's patterns within the randomness that are being experienced, that's not randomness.
But that's only subjective. The pattern
But
pattern has to be.
even if it's subjective, that means that there's still a pattern within the so-called randomness. And then if there is, then it's not random, even if it's subjective. If you can take something that seems to be random and find some sort of pattern in it that's obvious and that's agreed upon not just by like one individual but a large population of individuals, then that's enough to say that there's pattern in it.
But the pattern right now exists only because it has been segregated. Once it is made collective, like we were discussing about music, if I play three different songs simultaneously, it may become very hard to differentiate between, distinguish the music that is coming from this speaker and that speaker. It can become a chaos.
Sure. But I think even in chaos, you can find patterns. You can find an overall pattern.
That is when you, that is when you break it down.
Not necessarily, even if you zoom out from it. If you look at it from a higher perspective, from a higher dimension, if you will.
If we, yeah, that is what my argument is. If we zoom out and look at it from a higher dimension or somewhere on a higher plane, what we are going to observe is just like static we receive on the TV, just black and white, random spots, keeping changing, and the sound of again
White
noise,
noise.
randomness,
White
white
noise.
noise.
Yeah.
So that's what my argument is, that collectively everything is a white noise. But when we go deeper, separate the layers, see it relatively, subjectively, then we may begin to find patterns.
Hmm.
Or something like a Rorschach test.
I see what you're saying. I wonder if zooming out even further from that randomness would then place the randomness within such a small viewpoint or point of view that then it won't look random anymore, because it'll just be concentrated so much so that from that point of view, from that vantage point, it will just look like, like everything is coalesced into one fine point of information.
Mm-hmm.
And then therefore it will look like basically a singularity.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess is a singularity a pattern? What happens? Well, it's just a one-off. So I guess it's not really a pattern. But it's organized. This is interesting. So it's organized in a very particular way. And if something is organized in a very particular way, then can you say it's really truly random? Because something that's random can't be organized in a particular way. It's completely disorganized.
I think we have reached to the conclusion, if I'm correct. The singularity, it comprises of everything, theoretically.
Yeah.
So the randomness, if it exists, or patterns, if it exists within this singularity, and singularity can support both of them or either of them.
Yeah, it can support like depending on the cross section of that singularity that you take.
Exactly. Yeah. So once you have taken a specific layer of that singularity, you can see only randomness. Somewhere you can see only patterns, beautiful patterns, and somewhere you will see a bit of both.
Yeah.
Like a Van Gogh painting.
Yeah. So maybe all of them exist then.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they all exist. Randomness. I think randomness exists because we can think of it. Simple. Very simple. If you can think of it, it exists. Because how can you possibly think of something that does not exist? If you've thought of the idea, an idea is something. It's still something. So you can conceptualize the idea of randomness, and it must exist in this universe because we're thinking about it in this universe. That's a pretty simple argument for it.
So even a thought makes it existent.
I think so. Yeah.
So any concept that you come up with is already a part of the universe.
I think so.
Even if it isn't invented or discovered.
Even if you can't hold it or touch it because think of the most ridiculous thing. Like a unicorn playing basketball on the moon.
Yeah, I'm thinking of a big demon, red demon with horns walking on a planet like Mars.
Yeah, okay. Well, you can easily make that exist. You can just draw it.
Mm-hmm.
So it exists as a concept.
No, but again, I don't have to draw it, right? Because I've
Yeah.
already imagined it. It
Yeah.
has become part of the universe.
Exactly. It's part of the universe as an idea, as a concept. And is an idea or a concept less valid than something that you could touch and feel and use your senses to be able to like have this sort of ability to interact with? Like, is interacting with something like picking up a phone any less valid or more valid than an idea that you can interact with?
Yeah, that reminds me something that I read. There are two words, noumenon and phenomenon.
Okay, I don't know noumenon.
Okay, so noumenon is something like you and I are reading the same book,
Hmm.
but we are gathering different lesson from it.
Okay, interpretations.
And phenomenon is basically the text, which is the same for us. Okay, that is taking me back to the Vedic lessons that I've learned, Veda and Bhagavad Gita.
Hmm.
So I think if we start that now, we'll stretch it a lot. We have already gone.
Yeah, we should save it for next
Uh,
time because I also have to get ready for bed.
yeah, exactly. So this would be a good topic for our next podcast, Bhagavad Gita.
Remember it.
I think you're gonna love it because it has a lot of metaphysical concepts that you won't expect it to have because it is a religious. So it is not completely a religious book. It is more of a spiritual and metaphysical book.
Cool. We actually had, which is pretty cool on Twitch. I totally missed it because I was so engaged in our discussion. But we had somebody who messaged us.
Oh wow, we have a comment. Our first comment.
Our first comment that
Let's
says, "Hey, what's up?" That was it. Yeah,
okay, what's up?
yeah. What's going on? I'm going to. I replied, but I have not. But I just replied right now, and it doesn't show the time that this message was sent.
Mm.
But I'm going to write back. How are you? Directly to that person. So kind of cool. They didn't subscribe because it shows if somebody follows or subscribes to us through Twitch, unfortunately. But that's a good thing. And I don't think they're still hanging out because they're not replying. But all is good. Still nice to know that
So
somebody hung out for at least a little bit.
and wasn't a bot.
And I'm pretty sure this wouldn't have been a bot because bots don't typically just say, "Hey, what's up?" Yeah.
And even if they do, they won't wait for that long.
No. But kind of cool. Anyways, let's call it a podcast. That was interesting. That was fun. And what is the title of today's podcast? What are we going to call this
Okay, so
podcast?
3 things that we
So
discussed:
chess for sure.
chess, music, and universe.
Yeah. Chess, music, and yeah, universe is fine. Let's do it. Cool. Episode 5. I'm not doing 2.0 or 2.1.
5 or 6?
I think it's 5 or
How?
6. I'm not sure. I'll look it up.
Oh, all right.
I'm not sure. I'll figure it out. And
All right. Are we there yet to change our thumbnails or something?
yeah, that's so funny. I was literally going to say the same thing to you. So if you want, if you're cool to do so, it would be awesome if you were to consider how we can come up with some really interesting and fun thumbnails that might be engaging.
Yeah, I can make them up, but the question is, are we allowed to do that yet? Because I believe there is some limitation on number of I
No,
don't
we
know
can do
what
that.
that limitation is.
No, we can do it.
Okay, so we are allowed to change the thumbnail
Yeah.
because I couldn't see any option of that in YouTube Studio.
Yeah, there should be the ability to do that. If you just you should be able to edit the thumbnails anytime you want.
All right, so I'll look it up I'll, if there is an option, I will make a pretty thumbnail, which is
Fun.
along the, how other podcasts are making it. I will try
Yeah.
to make it look like that.
I wonder if like something like a screenshot, like one of like a screenshot of one of moments that we're talking, and then things like little pictures of things that are related to the
So
things that we talked about or that relate to the
what was it?
title.
A chessboard,
Yeah.
some musical instrument, and
Yeah.
the galaxy.
Yeah. Yeah. Just really simple, you know? Something like
Yeah,
that.
let's see.
Yeah. Don't go too crazy with it, you know? Just like have a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah, exactly. I'll see what we come up with.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool, man. That was fun.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I look forward to another game of chess with you next time that we do this next week. Okay, so it's going to be starting an hour later. Do you have a time zone change at some point there?
No, we don't have that daylight savings here. So
Yeah.
when did it begin for you?
A few days ago, I think. I don't remember.
Okay, so what time is it now there?
It's 12:41. So and I usually before I was starting at 9 p.m. my time, but now I'm starting at 10 p.m. my time, which is fine.
Okay, so what do I have to do?
Nothing.
All right, so it's just changing for you.
Just changing for me. You don't have to do a thing. How about that?
Yeah, because we don't follow daylight savings.
Yeah. You don't have to do anything. Nothing changes for you, it just changes for me. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I think this concept is applicable only in northern countries. Is it correct?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's stupid. There's no point to it.
Yeah. It's probably because of the sun setting a bit later.
I think it's because of a lot of stupid people that are still deciding to make us
Follow that.
follow it. Yeah. That's what I think.
Well, anyway, if any stupid people are watching this, change it.
Yeah. Goodness.
Don't be stupid.
All right, man. Have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you again next week.
Sure. You have a wonderful weekend. Take care.
Thanks, man.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.